Hi everyone, I'm Paige, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to create a Snow White dress for a costume. This is a very quick tutorial. Everything's kind of sped up, but each step of the process is shown to you. And if at any point you get a little bit confused, you can rewind the video as many times as you need to get the hang of what I'm trying to show you in the video. Also, in the description box below, you're going to find a worksheet that goes with this tutorial. Page 1 will show you how to take the measurements on the body, the arms and the bodice, and just getting the measurements ready and determining seam allowances. It works you through the whole process. And then the second page of the worksheet is the actual pattern pieces, which are mostly just rectangles, and a couple times you cut a little curve out of the rectangle. But once you get the sizes of the rectangles that you need for the dress, it's really easy to determine how much yardage to buy when you're getting the fabric for the dress. Now before we get into the tutorial, remember to click subscribe and the little bell alert so you're notified when any of my videos post. Let's jump right into the tutorial. Here are all the supplies that you'll need as described on the worksheet. The first piece that I wanted to do when I sewed this costume was to get the sleeves done. So I knew that I needed to have 3 panels of red on each side, so I'll cut a total of 6, and then bordering those 4 panels for each sleeve, so I cut 8 of the blue panels. So this is what you'll need for each sleeve. So to put them together, you're just going to alternate them, red, blue, and stitch them all together. Once they're all sewn together, you're going to create those little hidden red panels. So to do that, you'll match up the seams and sew 1.5 inches on the top and bottom of the blue, making sure that none of the red pokes through, and then just baste the top pieces flat. And there's the sleeve with the little puffs. Just repeat that for the other one, and I serged the very bottom of the sleeve and I kept the top of it raw. So on the raw edge is where I cut the arm curve. And you just do that on both sides. Okay, so the sleeves are done and you can set them aside. Next, I wanted to create the little piping that goes down the center front. So I just sewed a strip with the right sides touching in a very narrow piece. And I slipped that over a loop turner and turned it right side out. It's much more difficult than it seems to create a true spaghetti strap or piping. So it just takes a lot of slow pulling and a little bit of muscle there. Now I was going to sew the collar, so I just used my ruler to create a nice curve, and it's pretty simple. You're just going to top stitch along the sides, leaving an opening in the center, and then pull it right sides out. Once the right side is out, you'll just adjust the collar so there's no tucks. And let it lie flat. It helps to iron as well. So once it's there, then you'll top stitch around the entire perimeter of the collar, and that's finished, so you can set it aside. Now for the bodice, you're going to cut rectangles in the measurements determined on the worksheet. So here I am cutting the size that I need of rectangle, and then I'm going to cut the arm curve, the arm side, according to the measurement, and I will attach that piping that we created earlier to the very center of the front of the bodice. So stitch that straight down and trim off any excess. Now attach the bodice at the side seams. You can open that up to reveal the arm curve, and then stitch the sleeve portion of the sleeve that goes under your arm and turn them right side facing out, and attach right sides of the bodice and the sleeve together. Match that center point of the armpit and pin. You can pin all the way around and then sew the arm curve. Once you do that on both sides, all that's left to do for the bodice top is to create a channel opening for the elastic. So sew all the way around, leaving a little gap, and that is where you'll put the elastic through, and you do that on the arms and the top of the neckline and not the waist. So you'll cut the pieces for the arms and for the neckline according to the measurements on the worksheet. Using a safety pin to pull the elastic through, you'll slip it into the channel and just gather all the way around until the other end of the elastic comes out the other side, and then attach the ends together and stitch over them. Do that again to both sleeves, put the elastic in both and attach them. And before you sew that opening closed, you'll try it on and make sure it fits nicely. Now for the skirt, I just cut the rectangles of the skirt, the front and the back, and I sewed them together on the side and did a basting stitch along the top of the skirt. And I pulled the basting stitch on one of the threads just to gather it along the whole entire top. And then we will connect the bodice to the gathered edge of the skirt. And I started by attaching the center or the side seams with pins, and then evenly distributed the ruffles and pinned them in place. Now it's sewn, and all that's left to do is create a gathered waist. So to do that, you're going to get to the inside of the dress and sew a channel for that elastic. The channel should be bigger than the elastic so that the elastic can move throughout that channel. So here I sewed all the way around, and I left one little opening to be able to feed the elastic through, and that will be fed through the front side, the correct facing side of the dress. So once it's in there, you just gather it all the way around the waist, and when you get to the other side, you'll pull the elastic out and attach it. Try on the dress to make sure that it fits nicely, and then sew that little opening closed. Now that's closed, and you can sew that elastic band to the bodice. So it's going to be top stitching that elastic band channel to the bodice. While you sew this, you need to be stretching as you sew and stitching only through that very edge and not through the elastic, so that the elastic can freely move through that channel. And there it is, sewn down. And then I hemmed the bottom of the dress. Finally, you attach the collar. And the way that I did that, because it's gathered, is I just put little tack stitches a couple inches apart and hitting to the side where I wanted it to. And I wanted it to stop right on that light blue seam. And as you can see, it doesn't stretch very much, but the front will accommodate the head because it still stretches. And the dress is finished. All right, there you have it. An easy to make Snow White dress that is good for dress up and playtime and Halloween. Also, you can take this tutorial and you can make really any dress with it. you can, instead of doing the little red panel that's folded, you can omit that whole step and you can just make a really cute Christmas dress with a shiny plaid or a red and white gingham for summer. You can shorten it and just make really cute dresses for yourself or your children or your loved ones. The point really of these videos is to help you get the confidence to make things that are personalized. So until next time, go create something that you love. Bye everyone.